Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear and listening into another Pitch for Switch video from me. And this time I'm going to be talking about my idea for a 2D Mario game variant. And the engine that would be best used would definitely be the new Super Mario Bros. Engine, just because that's the one that people are most familiar with, and it's where Mario has literally the most versatility he's ever had in a 2D game as a character. So, that's why I'm going with this. Super Mario Double Up would essentially be a 2D Mario platformer, which would allow you to combine your power ups. That's basically it. That's the whole premise, that you are able to combine power ups. Now, that wouldn't necessarily mean that every power up can be combined with every other power up. There would have to be some limitations to this. But before I get into that, I'd also like to introduce a new item that I have not actually seen in a traditional Mario game, and that is the Lightning Flower. Now, I think Nintendo has used this concept other places. I'm not certain. I could be wrong. But I would love to see that added in as an element. And it's odd that Mario has fire and he has ice, but he doesn't have like lightning. Like when you think of like three different elements for almost any game, those are like the standard ones that you could immediately think up off the top of your head. Um, Secondly, flowers would not be able to be combined with each other. So you would not be combining the fire flower with the lightning flower or the fire flower with the ice flower. At least not for the first game. Like those would be interesting concepts to maybe do later on, but immediately no. What would happen immediately would be a swapping of element. Like take Super Mario Brothers for example. When you picked up the Cape Feather, it switched to and you had Fire Mario. It would switch to Cape Feather, and then the Fire Flower would pop up in your inventory slot. So in this case, instead of that happening, if you have the Fire Flower and you pick up the Cape Feather, you'd become Fire Cape Mario. Instead of Fire Mario or Cape Mario, you'd have Fire Cape Mario. Which, in my mind, and this is how I would see this working. With the Cape Feather and the Fire Flower, when he spins, his cape would be on fire, and it would burn enemies in the same way that the Fire Flower does. But it would be a close range attack instead of a distance one. Just like, and the same thing would go for if someone were to combine it with the ice flower, or even the newly introduced into this concept lightning flower. Um, and this gives reason to actually have the Tanuki suit, the Tanuki leaf, and the cape feather in the same game. Even though they're both flying, flying power ups. The Tanuki suit allows you to transform. Like, allows you to transform. So the basic Tanuki suit by itself, you transform into a stone statue and you can drop on enemies and smash them. Say Fire Tanuki Mario transforms into a pillar of flame that can fall down and burn enemies. Or Ice Tanuki Mario can turn into a big block of ice. Or Lightning Lightning Tanuki Mario would strike to the ground quickly as a lightning bolt. Like, see, all these are things that Nintendo could do. These are things that have been like rolling around in my head, and I'm like, damn, that would be awesome if they did this. Or take for instance the boomerang. Uh, and the thing is, I would probably want to change how you get the Koopa suit, which is basically what the Hammer Bros and Koopa suit. I would want to change how that works. Like your basic one, I guess it would depend on which one they would want to go with. Because if they go with hammers, then I would want Mario to pick up like the actual suit, not just like in Super Mario 3 where he picked up the suit and he could throw the hammers. Actually, for any of them, I'd rather he pick up the actual suit. So if it's like hammers or boomerangs, whatever it is, depending on what Nintendo would be deciding here. Instead of it being like in Super Mario 3D World, where the boomerang Koopa suit thing is a flower, it's just like an oddly shaped flower. I'd make it the suit, like you just pick up the suit thing, or it could be even just like a specific shell. Like, so if they wanted to do boomerang, blue shell, and if you wanted to do hammers, then a black shell. Actually, I think that would actually work a lot better if they did that way. And then you could, either one that you picked, you could combine it with an element. So you'd have flaming hot hammers that when you threw them, they arc up and hit the ground, and then a shock, not a shockwave, but like a little wave of flames comes off of it in two directions. It doesn't have to go very far. And or with the ice hammer, you throw it up in the air, and it arcs and it hits the ground, and then that ice pillar pops up and it'll hit an enemy. Like if it doesn't hit anything before it hits the ground. And same thing with like a lightning hammer. You throw the hammer, it strikes the ground, and it shoots a lightning bolt off. Or if it hits an enemy, it shoots a lightning bolt off. Let's say if it hits an enemy, it shoots it horizontally. If it hits the ground, it shoots it vertically. All these are things that they could do. Or if given the boomerang, the same example, you throw a flaming boomerang. Actually, obviously, a normal boomerang, it'll hit an enemy and it'll come back. Throw a fire boomerang, it'll hit an enemy. I'd say the normal one would stop when it hit an enemy and go back to Mario. A fire one would go through. It would hit multiple enemies, so it would go through them. Like you'd be able to hit like 2 or 3 of them before the boomerang came back. Ice would hit someone, freeze them, and then come back. Lightning would act much like the fire one, but then you get the cool striking lightning strike effect, or maybe not even a striking effect of lightning, but like just the bolts like exploding as it hits different enemies. Again, all stuff that could be done, would be interesting, would be cool, would be fun if I went to a 2D Mario game. And I'm not even going through all of the power-ups. I'm just going with the ones that pop up off the top of my head. Because I did put, like, you guys saw the little diagram I made. And that, to me, that would be cool. Like, if they could just do that, and it would be so much fun. And then they could introduce, like, items from, like, the 3D games, like, bring back the daggone metal cap. It doesn't have to operate exactly like the invincibility star with a metal cap, and this shouldn't be able to be combined with any elemental stuff. So basically, any of the flower stuff either is going to swap or you're just going to pick it up, because this would be a temporary timed item, kind of like the Mega Mushroom has been, but in this case, where you pick up the metal cap, it allows you to walk across spikes. It does make you temporarily invincible, but it allows you to walk across spikes for a short period of time, which would be a smart idea. I mean, obviously they could definitely do that with the invincibility shield as well, to be honest. But I just like the idea of the metal cap coming back, and then it has these specific areas that it can be used for. Or instead of it allowing you to walk across spikes, allows you to break spikes so that you can. That's a better. That way, there's a separation in the usage. It allows you to walk across spikes for let's say you get 30 seconds, not walk across them, but like allows you to walk into them and break them for about 30 seconds. Which would be appropriate if it's appropriately placed in the right spots. It would work out really well, right? Because then there could be level design around that usage of it, and it will also make Mario or any other characters that you're playing with heavier, so their jump height would be halved. And every time they hit the ground, you hear a loud boom, like Mario's doing the ground pound. Like a group ground pound is happening every time one person jumps. Like all of that would be awesome. So you can, and it would also be good for like allowing a Mario character to just sink into water. Like, like so. For example, if you had picked up the metal cap, like you know how the bubbles will blow your character up into the air somewhere. Put on the metal cap, they'll fall down to wherever those. They'll fall through the bubbles. They'll be too heavy to be pushed up, which again works out well for level design. That way, those pipes that you see where bubbles are blowing out, that you can never go down those pipes. This gives you a way to go down them. And these are just things, again, things that had just hit me in the head, and I'm thinking like Nintendo has had to have thought about this at least once. And Super Mario Double Up would be awesome. Like, it would be awesome to do that. Like, I think, honestly, I would love to see a Mario game where you could combine different items, and I would love to see how they build levels around that. Like, you can only go to a certain specific place if you have these two items combined. And then with that, they should allow for there to be items that have the traits of both of the combined items together, instead of you having to find them all separately all of the time. Where there are certain cases where you'll find like a fire leaf, or a fire feather, or something like that. Like, again, these are just things that could be interesting, that could be implemented, that I know Nintendo could make full use of and make an amazing game with. Like, and that's my main reason for wanting to see it. Like, that's literally my main reason for wanting to see it, because I just want to see what the hell they could do with it. So, thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out.